pardon my French, but what the fuck is going on here, right? The Broncos head coaching search is off the rails, as is today's show, because apparently the reports are that Denver is taking their time on conducting second interviews because Rob Walton, the primary owner of this team, is busy on a hunting trip, hanging out with the boys, shooting elk up in Montana. Are we serious right now? The 20th head coach of the Denver Broncos, one of the proudest franchises in the National Football League, is on hold so that Rob Walton can finish his hunting trip right now. We've got a lot to talk about today. Let's start things off, though, at the beginning of our story, which is on January 23rd, 2 days ago, when reports came in that Denver was planning to fly Sean Payton to the facilities on Wednesday or Thursday and conduct a second interview. We were all pumped up about this. All the reports were these two teams were about to be, or these two parties were a match made in heaven. Not so fast, though. Fast forward to not long later, when Howard Balzer tweets out that more breaking news. Source told me Denver interview delayed with Sean Payton. Interview with the Cardinals is here in Arizona. So somehow the Broncos go from having a second interview with Sean Payton, being the first one to do so, to it got delayed? How does an interview get delayed? What else could you possibly have to do? It's the off season. There's nothing else, right? But somehow the Cardinals swooped in and got an interview before the Broncos. All right, not panicking yet, but a little bizarre, wouldn't you agree? A little weird. And now we land at this. Primary owner Rob Walton, in a bombshell report yesterday from Jeff Duncan over at NOLA.com, who has good sources with Sean Payton's camp, hopped on a podcast, and he talked about the search. And here's what he said. I think it's nothing more, as I understand it, than Denver wanting the majority owner, Rob Walton, to be involved. And Rob Walton is on a hunting trip and is not going to be back in Denver. So when he gets back, I think you'll start seeing all the second interviews with the finalists start lining up in Denver. Rob, please take your time. Enjoy your hunting trip. It's not like we're all over here waiting for the 20th head coach in team history and hopefully the savior of this franchise, as it's been losing seasons since 2015. If this is true, what the actual fuck is going on? This is barbaric right now. What are we, cavemen? We're waiting on the next head coach because of a hunting trip? Could you imagine if Sean Payton or Dan Quinn get jobs tomorrow and Denver wanted to do a second interview with those guys, but they never got the chance because of a hunting trip getting in the way? I did not think I'd wake up this morning and talk about this. But I went to bed last night with those reports out, and I thought, I really hope they're not true. And it's sounding like they may be true. Now, Jeff Duncan sort of walked this back. Not walked back, but tried to cover his derriere. He said, folks, I was told this by someone close to the situation about the reasoning, but had not been able to confirm it, so I should have never mentioned it in a public forum. I certainly wasn't reporting and didn't expect this to become a thing in Denver. My regrets and apologies. Well, it's absolutely a thing, and my guess is it is true. That's a really strange thing to come across, don't you think? I'm guessing he said it, it blew up, which it did, and he got a call, and it's like, dude, you were not supposed to leak that. And now he's trying to go, whoa, don't stretch this. I was just talking about it. Was not reporting anything official. No, Jeff, pretty much cat's out of the bag at this point. Now, what is your panic level for this coaching search at right now? Scale it 1 to 10. I don't want to be at a 10 right now, but I can't be at a 1. If this is true, this is scary and this is damning. We're going to get to more reactions and more analysis in just a moment, but today's show is brought to you by Magic Spoon, the revolutionary cereal that's changing the game. Say goodbye to sugary processed cereals and hello to delicious, nutritious options that will power you through your day. Magic Spoon is the perfect choice for anyone looking to start the new year off on the right foot. With a variety of flavors to choose from, like cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter, you'll never get bored. And with only 140 calories per serving, it's a guilt-free breakfast option. But the best part, Magic Spoon is packed with 13 to 14 grams of protein and 0 grams of sugar, making it the perfect choice for those following a keto or gluten-free diet. And with a 100% happiness guarantee, you have nothing to lose by giving it a try. Order your own personalized Magic Spoon variety pack today and save $5 by using code CHAT at magicspoon.com/chat or by scanning the QR code on screen. Trust us, you won't regret it. Start your day off right with Magic Spoon. I've got that link for everyone in the comments and the description of today's show. To get back on track here, what's pretty insane, by the way, is the second half of today's show is just as unbelievable as the first half of today's show. But here's the thing. Dan Quinn and Sean Payton are both interviewing with the Arizona Cardinals this week. I want to believe that they are smarter than me and they know what they're doing and that there's no big rush and that you have time to go on a hunting trip and it's not going to get in the way of anything. But at the same time, the AFC and NFC championship game are in less than a week. Can you remember the last time no head coach was hired by that point? It's been a bizarre long dance. I'm wondering if this week we start to see some coaches get picked up. And if Rob Walton, in his first season as an NFL owner, learns the hard way that maybe you don't take hunting trips when you're in the midst of a head coaching search, I'm going to be furious. I'm going to delete the channel. Probably not, but I might. Now, I've got more to get to here because some people are a little bit more calmer than I am. And I wish I could be Andrew Mason right now, who said, I'm old enough to remember when a lot of coaching hires didn't happen until February or sometimes even March. There doesn't need to be this much urgency. It's not like you're playing a game Sunday. Well, you may not be playing a game Sunday, but you're definitely competing with other teams for these head coaching candidates. Who's to say remember last year? The Broncos had 3 second interviews lined up. Dan Quinn, Kevin O'Connell, and Nathaniel Hackett. They only did one of those 3. So the Arizona Cardinals, the Houston Texans, and these other open spots might have a couple second interviews lined up, but human nature is unpredictable. Who's to say Sean Payton doesn't get to Arizona, walks into the facility, brings in that dry heat, and he goes, I kind of like it down here. You know what? Screw it. I know I was going to look at other places, but I don't want to anymore. Kyler Murray, you Call of Duty king, I'm your new head coach. If that happens, and Denver never got the opportunity for a second interview because of a hunting trip, I mean, first off, it better be like a 12-point buck or something at the very least. I'm a very naive hunter, never actually been, but still, you get the gist here. Now, here's the crazy thing. If you thought like that first half of the show was crazy, what about this report that came out right as we were all ready to go to bed last night from Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk? Rumblings emerge of Broncos making a head coaching decision as soon as Wednesday. It's Wednesday, with DeMeco Ryans and David Shaw among the perceived finalists. If this is why Rob Walton is on a hunting trip because they're not interested in a second interview with Dan Quinn or Sean Payton, and they're the only ones looking at David Shaw, which should be a bit of a red flag, right? For example, the Colts are the only ones looking at Jeff Saturday, and that's not a very good decision. Don't you think you should not be the only one looking at one person? Just my 2 cents. And DeMeco Ryans, who we'll look at in just a second, can't even get hired for a couple of weeks if the Niners continue to win. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now here's what Mike Florio said. Some believe that the Broncos could go first as soon as Wednesday. They were very impressed by 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans, who can't be hired by anyone until his team's current season ends. Former Stanford coach David Shaw also has emerged as a very viable candidate. So let's break down these 2 potential candidates here because I am okay with one of them and I will straight up not be having a good time with the other one because DeMeco Ryans, not a bad candidate. I think he is very well respected. I think he is very well on his way to being a good NFL head coach one day. Well, I think he's very well on his way to being an NFL head coach one day. I don't know if I can say good for sure. There's a lot of people we thought would be good head coaches. Doesn't always work out. Now, aside from just fiery takes and giving you guys the latest Broncos news and rumors, there's a handful of reasons to subscribe to the channel, like giving shout-outs. So on Monday's show, we did a bit of a Chat Sports comment challenge, and Eli Case with 199 comments answered the bell. Riley Stetson and Alan B. came in second and third place. We had a lot of close people coming up after that, but who was that? I want to give some verbal shout-outs here. We had, I deleted them. Shoot. Okay, I'm sorry, but you guys know who you were. We had a lot of good competition in the comment section below, so shout out to all of you guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. This channel is interactive. We'll get you guys on screen. Going back to Mike Florio's report, though, if you can't hire DeMeco Ryans until the 49ers season ends, how could a hiring happen today? Maybe you could make an unofficial and wait for their season to officially conclude. That's what the Vikings did with Kevin O'Connell. They couldn't hire him until the Rams won the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl. But why is there a sense of urgency to get this hiring done today if you can't even make a hiring until after the 49ers season ends? But let's just break down DeMeco Ryans further for a second here. DeMeco Ryans may be an awesome coach, maybe an awesome head coach one day. But is Denver really in a position to gamble for a fourth straight time on a first-time head coach in the last 7 years? No, they are not. It's a shame. It's a scam. It's unfortunate for DeMeco Ryans and for a handful of other candidates that are going to be first-time head coaches. But the Broncos, they just have to rule it off. They have to go, it doesn't matter how much we like them. We thought we loved the last 4 first-time head coaches. This is not the time to be a watering ground so that DeMeco Ryans can grow and blossom into an awesome coach in Denver. You have to go get someone with experience. And then there's David Shaw. No. Are we just hiring our buddies at this point? It kind of feels like that with the Broncos ownership having a lot of Stanford ties. And let's be frankly honest here. That's the only reason why David Shaw has an interview with the Broncos. If there was no Stanford connection, there would be no interview for David Shaw, as there should not be. Look what Shaw has done at Stanford the last 6 seasons. 3 wins, 4 wins, 4 wins. This guy is who we're talking about being the next Denver Broncos head coach, which I think might be the most important head coach hire in a long time since Shanahan. This is what you want to go with? Oh, and don't even remind me about the NFL experience. He hasn't been in the NFL since 2005. That's nearly 20 years ago. He was a wide receivers coach. What are we talking about here? If David Shaw had no connection to Broncos ownership, this would not be a thing. But instead, we're being kind of doused to believe he's got 9 years of NFL experience. Yeah, and half of them were quality control coaches. That's glorified water boys. QB coach and wide receiver coach nearly 2 decades ago. But we're supposed to be all hunky-dory of, well, he's got plenty of NFL experience. The game has changed in the pros. And you know what? He sucked at the collegiate level for the last half decade. So no, I'm not going to be okay with a David Shaw hiring. But I want to hear from you. Which coach is at the bottom of your list? We're always talking about who you want the Broncos to hire. Everyone's always asking that question. How about this one for a change? Turn it upside down for a second. Who do you not want the Broncos to hire? If you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. That way we can get you guys more Broncos content. The more subscribers we get, the more studio space and the more content for you. So if you have not hit that big red button, please go ahead and do so for one reason and one reason only. To hopefully stop the hunting trip and get Rob Walton back to Mile High.